Hello, and thank you for tuning in to my cooking channel. Today I'm going to be doing something low carb. It's called cheeseburger casserole. This can be made regular carb or high carb by just adding french fries or whatever. But my husband and I, we have a DOT physical coming up. And so, we're going to watch our blood sugar and all that, because we're getting ready to have to visit the DOT physician, and we really don't want to hear any sad stories there. So I'm going to start with these casseroles. You can see those. Okay, I'm going to put a link in the description box below. These are individual casserole dishes, and these were shipped to me from Bosco's. And they are made by Fiddle and Fern, and they have little covers on them. They are just precious. Oh, there's like a little piece of cheese on there. So anyway, I'm going to be doing the casseroles for my husband and I in separate little individual casserole dishes. All right, so for the pan, we're going to need half a container of this Philadelphia whipped cream cheese. It can be any brand, it can be generic, it doesn't matter. It's easier if it's whipped. You can use regular if you want. Okay, I'm going to be using like a little shot glass here of ketchup. All right, and 2 pounds of ground beef, 1/2 cup of chopped yellow onion. Now, a lot of people say onions aren't keto. They are not. This recipe would serve 4 people, so one person is going to get a very small amount of this, like 1/4 of this, which is like 1/8 of a cup, which is not very many carbs. And then there's my half a container of cream cheese. And then this is 6 slices of cheese sliced into these quarters or triangles. Okay, and that's going to all go in the pan. And then we're going to have sort of our toppings, which is going to be shredded lettuce. And this is, I think, 10 diced cherry tomatoes. It's like 1/4 cup. That's going to be divided between 2 people, so it's not going to be a lot of carbs. And then I've got like 1/3 cup of pickle slices. That's dill pickles. You can't use sweet pickles if you're doing low carb. It would be a lot of sugar. And then here we have 3 tablespoons of just plain yellow mustard. We have 1/2 cup of non-sugary mayonnaise. It has to be something like Duke's or Hellmans or the generic thereof. And then we have 1/4 cup of pickle juice. Okay, dill pickles again, like I said. And so now it's time to get started. So I have added some oil, okay, to the pot here, or the skillet. Now, if you don't want to eat ground beef, you could substitute ground turkey. You could substitute ground chicken, but probably not the impossible meat. And because the reason why that is because there is potato and other carbs and starches that go into making the impossible meat. You could still make this dish using the impossible meat, but it just wouldn't be low carb. So with no further ado, I'm going to start breaking this up so that I can add the onion. Okay, I've had this on medium high, and now it's time to add some pepper, okay, and some salt. All right, and as soon as all the ground beef is browned, I'm going to add the onions. I don't like adding onions when there is still raw meat, because I don't know, onions absorb a lot of things from their environment. Could be the air, could be whatever they're sitting in or whatever. And the raw meat can have bacteria, and it might not get all the way cooked out of the onions. So I feel that it's safer just to wait until the ground beef is done and then add the onions. Now it's time to add the onion and give it a stir and get the onions tenderized, until they're kind of translucent. And then we can go on with the next step. Now it's time to add that little dollop of ketchup and the cream cheese and give that a stir. Okay, I've got everything mixed up in here, and this is optional, but I'm gonna just go with a dash, just a tiny bit of Worcestershire sauce. That's probably like maybe, I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon or something, maybe a half. Okay, so I'm going to divide this between 5 of my casseroles. We're going to have 2 tonight, and then the rest of these I'm not going to finish off. I'm just going to put them in the fridge for tomorrow, or maybe, you know, even the next day. And so I'll just start taking my ladle there and spooning out some meat, some of this meat, ketchup, and cream cheese mixture. Okay, and I'm going to try to distribute it evenly. You could do this between 4 or 5 or 6 different casseroles or different portion sizes, however you want to do it. Okay, I decided that 5 was good. Okay, that's just me. You can do what you want. Okay, looks like I'm going to have enough to pretty much evenly divide this between 5 dishes. It won't be exactly precise, but you know, pretty precise. Okay, so I'm just kind of, you know, I'm just kind of guesstimating and, you know, trying to make it as even as possible. And I think when I divide this between 5 dishes, you know, the amount of meat is, you know, more reasonable. I think if you go between 4, you know, you're going to have a half a pound of meat in each dish, and you know, that's a lot, you know, of red meat and animal fat. Now, a lot of the keto people are like, you know, you don't worry about red meat and animal fat and all that when you're doing low carb and keto, but I'm still going to, because you know, I don't want to develop cholesterol problems and things like that. And so, you know, that's just my discretion. You know, you do what you want. It's your world. It is your world, and you do you, and I'll do me. All right, so I'm going to spread this out evenly and then go on with the next step. Okay, these are the 2 that we're actually going to finish off and eat this evening. The rest of them are going to cool to room temperature, and then they're going to go in the fridge. Okay, before you do this, you want to put oil inside of your miniature casserole dish or whatever casserole dish you're using. Okay, and then I just take those triangles and I just kind of break them up and evenly distribute them over the top of these. Okay, you want to get everything pretty much covered. An important note about American cheese. Okay, there is American processed cheese food. That is 1 molecule away from being plastic. It doesn't melt well. It doesn't taste good. It's quite nasty. So I'm going to recommend that you get American processed cheese. Regular American processed cheese will not say cheese food at the end. It will not say cheese product. It will just end with the word cheese. And so make sure you're getting processed American cheese and not cheese food or cheese product. So now I'm going to pop these in the oven on about 350, and I'm going to let the cheese melt. So there they are. They're in their little happy place, just baking away. So there they are, all stacked up, the ones that are going in the fridge. And I'll just stack them on top of each other. I turn the lid upside down like so. Okay, and I put a little foam divider between each one of them to prevent chipping. So there are my little casseroles all tucked away in the refrigerator now for tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to want some more of this, so that's the reason for that. Oh, look at that. Isn't that delightful? Okay, I'm going to let it brown just a little bit, but it's melted up quite nicely. Now, while the cheese is melting in the oven, it's time to mix up our Hamburger Casserole mayonnaise and mustard and pickle juice sauce. So I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of pickle juice, a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, and 3 tablespoons of plain yellow mustard, and just give it a mix. And I'll mix this very well, and then it's going to get drizzled on top of each casserole. So there it is, all mixed up. So there are our cheeseburger casseroles, fresh out of the oven. I'm going to let them calm down for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to add the toppings. A little note about this mayonnaise and mustard and pickle juice sauce. When you taste it, it might be a little too sour for you, a little too much. You can add a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon of this stevia, and it just mellows it out just a little. It doesn't taste like syrup or anything like that. It's not going to make it super sweet, but it just mellows it out. It makes it a little bit more pleasant without adding any sugar. Okay, these have cooled down a bit, and so now it's time for the toppings. Okay, and you can do this however you want, but I like to put down some pickles first. Okay, just a few, just here and there. You can also chop these pickles if you like, or you can use dill pickle relish. up to you, but I'm just going to use the whole pickle, or the whole pickle slice. And then lay down some shredded lettuce, okay? All right, for that extra little bit of crunch, all right? And a few of these little tomato pieces. Like I said, tomatoes are not exactly low carb, but if you use them very sparingly, it won't hurt a thing. Okay, and now it's time for that sauce. Okay, and so I'm going to bring it over here. All right, and I'm just going to drizzle a little bit over the top of all this. And there you have it. There you have your cheeseburger casserole. Like I said, it's low carb. You can still enjoy this if you're not doing low carb. Some people add potatoes to this. They actually add it into the casserole. Some people just have it with French fries. So you don't have to be on a low carb or keto diet to enjoy this dish. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to put, like I said, the link to these casserole dishes in the description box so that you can purchase them if you like from Bosco. Thank you again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.